Well, good day, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of WTF Walk the Floors, and we're here on location at High Tech in Orlando, bringing you this episode. I'm Stephanie Michèle, Chief Excellence Officer of First Rate Hospitality, and I'm here with my co-host, Michèle. Hi, Michèle, coordinating in the red today for our viewers being able to see.
Absolutely. For those of you who are just listening, we are both dressed in red. We are at High Tech Orlando. We had this special episode scheduled, but since we're all under the same roof, we thought, why not? Let's just do it all together. So we are going to talk about the aftermath of July 4th. So what are those lovely stories that we can share of the beautiful things that we face when we walk back into our resorts, our hotels, our gaming floors, and our vacation rentals or holiday rental homes after 4th of July. So for this special episode, we have Brian here. Brian, tell us who you are, what you do, and why those viewers and listeners on the other side should trust what you have to tell us today.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me on. So I'm a fellow podcaster as well. My name's Brian Hamaoui. I'm a host on GuestX podcast. I've been in the short-term rental industry since 1999. We owned and operated a short-term rental company the first time around for 10 years. I then developed guest technology on the guest experience side for the vacation rental industry, and then came back into short-term rentals late last year to try to help better our industry a little bit, mostly on the guest experience side and the homeowner acquisition and homeowner experience side of it. So we've been in this industry for a very long time and watched it from different facets, from the technology side as well as the operational side.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. That's years of experience.
Years of experience.
We're excited to have you. That's wonderful.
I'm excited to be with you guys.
Yeah.
Super. So here is the thing, right? We go into the preparation, full on, all hands on deck to get ready for the holidays, right? We have high check-ins. I'm sure you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, getting everyone checked in pretty much at the same time in various different properties. So on that perspective, I'm sure that what we do is somewhat similar, right?
Yes.
Craziness as we prepare. Then there's a little bit of quiet or not.
Yeah, hopefully.
And then it's just like everyone will unleash their madness. And when they leave, what happens next? So tell us a WTF, or maybe you have a few. You can share as much as you want.
Yeah.
What are those WTF mouth-opening moments of the craziness after the holidays?
You know, it's really interesting on the short-term rental side because we have, for the most part, we have very large homes. And unlike hotels, we just don't have a front desk. So we're trusting that the guests arrive at the homes and, the people that they say are staying at the home and it's not double or triple. So one of the things that we try to do is at some point arrive at the home to greet the guests during those vacation times, just to ensure that we're not walking into a disaster. We have had instances where we've walked into houses. We had one particular guest that decided to climb up into the attic of the house to look for a comforter because he was cold, fell through the roof of the house onto the pool table and broke his arm. And,
what about the pool table then?
The pool table was fine, but we had blood all over the walls. And so we ended up calling the cops and filing reports. But those are the type of instances. We don't live inside of the homes. They've got large spaces so they can host big numbers of people.
Yes.
And
as long as that credit card's still working.
So we've gone a different direction because it was also very difficult with the credit card systems. They were, they're not for us, they're with their customer. Mm-hmm. And we've implemented, we use a product called Safely, which is basically an insurance program on all our homes, and it insures us up to $10,000 in damages.
Interesting.
And so that was one of the things that we needed to navigate. Although it's an expensive program, it actually saves a lot of the damages inside of the homes.
Wow.
But in that case, so the guests were leaving at 10 o'clock in the morning. We had guests arriving at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh no!
And we had to repaint the whole entire house, carpets, and it was a 6-bedroom house, and we got it done.
Wow, that is crazy.
It is crazy.
Stephanie, can you remember any WTF type of moment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for a lot also too, not in Florida, but in the other areas, this is really the kickoff to summer. And so you would think, okay, now we're out of the holiday weekend, but then also too, most of the guests are staying for a week as well. And so, I remember when the guests were arriving and they'd be like, I need the rollaway bed, I need this, and this. And you're like, okay, now we'll be a little bit quiet. We gave you everything you need for the room. And then it would be like, okay, well, now that part of the family's leaving, and now I have a new family or like other relatives that are visiting me, and now we have to redo everything again. At the same time, it just came to me also too is there was a movie premiere that was happening, a junket in New York City in the middle of this as well. So here we are trying to transition from transient into now corporate.
Oh, wow.
Chaos.
Yeah, that is chaotic.
Absolute chaos. I can recall many stories, but I think that my favorite are always around either checking out and everything that the guest either broke or consumed that they cannot recall. So now you have your front desk agents fighting over what that folio looks like, or anything housekeeping. Going into those rooms or timeshare units where the entire place is upside down, and I can tell you stories about groups that had connecting rooms, moving furniture from one room to the next so that the one room could be empty so that they could throw their party, their own 4th of July party. So those are the crazy stories that we have. But what are some of the tips that we can tell our audience that they can, prevent some of these things from happening? Perhaps it has to do with trying to go into those rooms more often. Those are things that we do on our side of the industry, but I don't think you have any control over that.
We don't.
There's
and
no way for you.
Yeah, no, it's very difficult for us, especially because we're not in a consolidated, we're not in a building, right? And most people feel very uncomfortable having other people unannounced going into the properties. They have their belongings all over the place. They really do treat it, well, they don't treat it like their house. They treat it like, I don't know what they treat it like. Just a place where they stay that they think is their house, and they host people and party and all of this kind of stuff. With that being said, one of the things that we do is we'll use an excuse. We need to change an air filter, for example, or there's an item that was missed during the clean, that, a curtain or something like that. So it gives us that excuse that we need to get into the property to drop it off. And that gives us a really good, ahead of time, what does the property look like? Because in most instances, within the first 24 hours, what that property is going to turn out looking like.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yes. And that also too of, the aftermath is everything they leave behind.
Yeah.
I'm like, were your suitcases basically empty when you're leaving, because you've left basically everything in your suitcase now here?
Well, I just had a customer that told me she left her KitchenAid. Those giant KitchenAid blenders? She called me and she's like, I left my KitchenAid mixer at the house, and I'm going, this is $500 and it weighs like 50 pounds. What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
I have said KitchenAid. I have a story like that at a property in location south of Las Vegas. Anyone who's listening can probably relate. It's right by the river, and obviously you can't bring any cooking equipment into the rooms. This is a hotel, a resort. It's not timeshare and we had someone who came to, or front desk transfers a call to housekeeping, telling us that they left behind one of those two stove cooking.
The burners.
Yes, burner. The ones you use for camping.
Yeah.
They left it behind And we're like, okay, so did you let them know that number one, they're not supposed to be using that in the room, right? Number two, if we found it, we probably burned it at this point because you will never get it back. We didn't really say that, but we thought of it. And it's one of those things where you're like, okay, you were breaking the rules, so now you're kind of claiming and letting us know that you were just breaking the rules and it's okay. So yeah, getting into those units throughout very specific holidays or in extended stays is extremely important.
Absolutely. Especially too when the holiday falls on a Monday like this year too, that you're now going into 3 or 4 days, depending of how, the minimum stay on short-term rental and hotels that they're having, that it really can almost be, 5 days before you're getting into that unit.
And praying.
Yes.
That everything's okay.
Yes, exactly.
5 days and pray.
Yes.
Yeah. So when everything goes really quiet, you then start to wonder, why is it so quiet?
Exactly.
Yes.
It's
Exactly.
like kids.
Yes.
It's like having kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
When
Absolutely.
they disappear and it's so quiet, you have to be very concerned. So this is great.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I think one of the things that people need to do to come out of it well is prepare their staff as well. I think that's it's a mental challenge. A lot of, on a senior level, when we look at our operations, we tend to forget about the people that actually have to go into a unit and find these disasters. And so one of the things that we do is we say to our staff, prepare. This is probably not going to be good. And they're aware of it, but whatever the outcome is, that they have the support behind them to be able to remedy any issues that they find.
Yes.
And so you do that, like we have implemented in short-term rentals, we've implemented linen programs. So they take spare linens, they have spares of almost anything that they need at the house to be able to fix it right then and there. But if it's above and beyond that, we also have team members that are ready to go in and help them fix those issues. So they're not alone.
Yeah. And I think also too with inventory of making sure, on the hotel side, and I'm sure that you guys get it as well, is okay, how many cribs or pack and plays, rollaway beds, extra linens, like you were saying as well, or just different amenities that usually the guests are requesting during this time because they are staying with their family, and now making sure, okay, we have that all ready to go, like Thursday.
Where it's clean, where you know where it's at,
Yes.
and you don't have to be out there trying to hunt it down.
Yes. Exactly. And having that communication with housekeeping and front desk, because front desk will be like, oh, absolutely, we'll send that right up later on for you. Or I'm sure you'll see it on the reservation notes of, okay, they're going to need these items ahead of time. And then you say yes, and then all of a sudden you look at your inventory and you're like, oh, I don't.
Absolutely.
Especially that guest that's checking in at 10 p.m. with their children that now they've been in the car for about 5 hours, and they're like, I just want to get this kid to sleep because it's driving
you either
me
get me
crazy.
the crib or the child will sleep at the front desk with you.
And in most instances for us, they don't read the check-in instructions. So we've sent the door codes. We do remote entry. We've sent the door codes like 10 times, and they've got access on their phones. They're like, get to the front door, 10 o'clock at night, and they're like, how do we get into the house? And I'm going, guys, we've sent numerous. We even say, did you get the information? Like, yes. And then they get there, and they're like, frantic, I can't get into this house. And you're like, oh my God, you're killing me here. Yeah.
So pre-planning is really the success for your aftermath.
And I think it's a success for any type of hospitality.
Yes.
We go now, we've got July 4th coming up, but we really, summer season, even over Christmas, for us it's always peak. We always treat it as peak because we don't know, especially over COVID, we had a lot of parties. People were coming down for 2-3 days at a time. It's not any different than our typical coming in and coming out, except you know that it's a party time. Right, they're coming down with their friends and family.
It's happening.
It's an excuse for them to go absolutely bonkers. Hopefully, not too crazy, but we're still prepared. Any other stay.
So we talk about preparation, right? The pre of the holiday, but what can we do the day off when it's truly crazy, especially in hotel or when the guest checks out? For our team members to keep them engaged and motivated beyond the extra support from a staff perspective or from an inventory perspective? What are those things that we can do to keep them going and knowing that you can get through this, it'll be okay?
So one of the things that we do is we implement a lot of technology. We use photography a lot. I think one of the things that's very overwhelming, especially for the cleaning team, because our units are so big and we have units up to 11 bedrooms. And so for them to be able to remember what's in each room or how to set up each room exactly the same, and if we have a portfolio of homes, every single home's a little bit different. And as much as we'd love to say we know every single one of our homes, we don't. There's just too many elements. So we use a lot of photography. It also simplifies for them mentally what they're supposed to do. So if they know that they can refer to a photo, they've got very clear details on how it was set up, what it's supposed to look like, and potentially what's missing. That helps them a lot on how to approach the home and how to clean it and how to set it up. And I think just a process in general to help them out simplifies that checkout, check-in, or that clean process after checkout.
Yeah, sure.
Yes. And I think also too communication as well. So just keeping it, even though your staff is fine at the moment, but then just giving them that extra boost of confidence of being like, thank you so much for being here. I know it's going to be a crazy day for us, and just keeping the positive morale as well, and being encouraging to your team goes a long way. Also, instead of just waiting until now the aftermath and being like, okay guys, we got this, and you're like, no, where were you in the preparation for it?
Absolutely. Yeah, and then giving them something special either the day off or the week after, right? Like maybe you cater lunch for them, or maybe you walk around and help everyone strip one room, or perhaps you go help at the desk check people out, or getting involved from that perspective goes a long way beyond the donut.
One of the things that's really interesting, and we're here at the High Tech Conference supporting UTIP, and this wasn't really a plug for them, but it is a really interesting concept, which is that we have the ability now to tip our staff or generate extra revenue. So in economic times like these, everything goes up.
So for those of you who don't know what UTIP does or who UTIP is a platform that allows guests to be able to tip digitally. So this world is going cashless. And we have seen that our staff more and more often, they do miss out on that opportunity to receive that extra little bit of income or revenue. So that's obviously a fantastic opportunity. So
what we're looking at is different ways that we can create new incentives for our staff to earn some money. We were discussing with some other companies last night that they're using the reviews specifically either on cleaning or maintenance. If they maintain a 5-star review, for example, they receive an additional round of, let's call it money, because they've got X amount of 5-star reviews. But it also means that you can keep up. Your team almost becomes your eyes and ears on the ground because they've got an incentive to work towards. Whereas they're not just getting paid $50 to clean a room. Now they've got the opportunity to make $50 plus an extra $10-$20, which is worth their while.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's those, that is a WTF walk the floor type of opportunity, right? Because now if you don't do a great job or go far and beyond, you miss out on that opportunity to get the extra.
Absolutely.
So it's a win-win for both.
And it also becomes one of those situations where team members start to work together. So if your cleaning staff reports something to the maintenance team and the maintenance team doesn't get it done, and then that customer review comes back and it says it's a 3-star review because X, Y, and Z was broken. Well, now the cleaner gets upset at the maintenance team because it wasn't done. So now that whole cycle starts to work together without having senior leadership come in because it's affecting their bottom line.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jinx.
Do you have anything else?
No, I mean, this is great. It's crazy of how much there is so much similarity with the short-term rental and the hotel. I mean, like you were saying, there's rooms that you have or houses that you have 11 bedrooms. That's a full board for some of our room attendants of what they're doing on a daily
On an
basis.
8-hour shift.
Yes.
Because their turn is much shorter.
Yes, exactly. Which is bonkers. But so the aftermath of 4th of July kickoff to summer is always chaotic, and you never know what you're going to be walking the floors and seeing on the aftermath.
Yeah, I think one of the essential things for us, and we've moved away from doing same-day check-in, check-out because of the size of our homes, is actually allowing time.
Yes.
So we're okay with doing 24 hours pretty much, or days in between a check-in and a check-out. Our customers check out at 10 o'clock in the morning. We have check-in the next day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And surely your ratings have changed too. Now you have more time to pay attention to that detail and be part of creating that experience.
Exactly. So we pay more attention to the details inside of their home, spend more time fixing it, making sure that whatever the guest has booked is what they're going to walk into, rather than giving them something that was half-assed because we tried to pack in more reservations.
Yes.
And then we've got to talk about compensation on top of that.
Yeah. And how many times too that the guest is actually more likely to arrive early, and now we're able to elevate that service by able to say, yes, we can accommodate you at 2 p.m. and now being able to get them in early so they can enjoy the beach or the backyard or golfing, wherever the location may be, to enjoying the amenities in the city that they're at.
Absolutely. Well, it helps, right?
Yes.
If they think they're checking in at 4 and you say it's 2 o'clock and they're like, what's the extra charge? And you say it's an extra $75, but you know what? I'm going to give it to you. Don't worry about it. All of a sudden, you've started off on the right foot. People are super happy to walk in early and start to enjoy the vacation.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's the little things.
The little things. Yes, the little things that count. Well, this was great. Thank you so much, Brian, for being here with us. We are excited to bring some of that extra perspective that we not always think of. We're so much embedded into our hotel resorts, and we don't think of what the vacation rental side of our industry looks like. So this is awesome. Thank you for that. And we hope everyone had a great holiday at this point, and that you were able to, take on the aftermath with a little grain of salt.
Yeah, and not pulling the hair,
Yes,
not too much. I've already lost it all, so it doesn't matter.
Yes, you have no hair.
No, it's good. It's a good thing.
Yes, but we've been there. We know what it's like on that aftermath, but hopefully for everyone, it was a great, successful holiday weekend and kickoff to summer.
And for those properties who have those beautiful, colorful lights on the sky, we do hope that your fireworks went off the right way. We'll talk about that one other time.
Yes.
That was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.